Alright, sorry about that. Camera difficulties. Instead of actually dealing with that and redoing all this, you should be able to feel my pain. We're going to just continue where we left off with a part 2. Yeah, never said that this would be a quick install. The spring in hand so I can line it up. Get it in there. Please don't lose that pin again. There we go. That piece is done. So the spring, you're gonna have to hold this, but the spring is hanging in there like so. It should be hanging upside down, if you're holding it upside down, of course. Now what's gonna hold this in place is this piece, which this is actually the part that'll impact the nub on the back of your magazine that'll release the gas and, you know, allow the whole action to work. So it's a pretty hard piece to lose, but you know, don't lose that piece. You're gonna set it in there like so and just slide it in. And the horizontal hole on the side, which I'm just gonna assume that you've already seen because it's pretty big, should line up pretty well with this, which will allow it to slide back and forth. Now here's the second hardest part of the video, especially since this pin is sliding out. You want to, I'm gonna set it like that, perfect. You want to take this part, you have a space here, and then if you look in the back of your KC-02, you're going to see a rectangular hole. And this tab needs to line up with that, with this horizontal hole, so it lines up with this hole. And you have to do that while that pin with the condensed spring is on there, so that the back piece of this goes through the rectangular hole in the back. Right, it'll come out through here, but it's in there. And that's gonna be, it sounds complicated, but yeah. The first thing you're gonna do, just completely unrelated to it, just so that this piece doesn't fall out, you're going to, you know, hold that loose pin. Also, when there's retention and all this is put together, these pins don't tend to slide out. I'm going to hold it upside down so that this little hook piece that's facing in is there. You're going to reach into the side with your tweezers, and you're going to make the hook piece fit into the hole that you're going to see, the top piece. I'm just going to kind of show that to you, this hole right here. Alright, going to take this and grab the end of your hook, and it'd be great if I had needle nose pliers, but I don't, so I'm making do. You hold it as tight as you possibly can and get it through that hole, and once you do, you just kind of push it in place. So that hooks through. There we go. Now we have some retention to that piece. That thing isn't coming out because it's pushing this tab down, which is pushing the little nub into the trigger, and yeah, so on and so forth. Now we can do this without having to hold the gun all awkwardly. Now here's where you're gonna wish that you had where I'm gonna wish that I had needle nose pliers. You're going to have to push this spring down and hold it like this, and you have to hold it with the strength of a dead man's grip, because if you don't, this is gonna slip out. It's gonna shoot. It's gonna shoot somewhere. And you better hope that the room that you are in is not messy, like mine was. So, yeah, the strength has the power to knock down the stock of the gun. Should be saying something. Haha. Ah, that's great. Well, you're gonna take this. You're gonna set it in here. Chris is taking care of my stock. Okay. I have little markings all over mine from where I've gripped it with very rough tools, but that actually won't affect anything as long as you don't scrape the metal and create burrs and whatnot. So I'm just going to hold it with this because that has a better grip because it cuts into the nubs. So I'm going to put it in this so it's like that, and it's going to slide into where it needs to go. Going to slide it in here. Case in point. I'm going to slide this in here. Cameraman just kind of moved away from the camera, so hopefully you can see it. Alright, he's kind of motioning, of course, so I'm going to take his word on it. Yeah, this is almost as hard as the whole trigger thing. Yeah, I'll use you. Better not lose my spring. Because that will be the end of the video real quick. This is not going to work. Okay. The other way that you can do this is to take this piece. This is kind of harder. To take this piece, so this is the only option I have. Line it up, get your last pin through there. Yeah. There we go. That's good enough. I'll go through the other side. There we go. And you're going to condense. Oops. You're going to condense the spring and hold on to it with the strength of a dead man. Dead man's grip. If you don't get the reference. This won't work. And you're going to slide the back of that pin into the rectangular slot in the back bottom corner of the whole trigger casing. You are not going to do it if the spring is not condensed, because it will just get in your way. Let's put it that way. And be really careful, because replacement spring kits for this gunner, at least mine I had to get, was at $26. And my hand is borderline cramping up with this. To line up that rectangular piece. Go. It's in. Alright, then you're going to line it right here. You're not going to let go, and you're just going to really just push this down and in. It's lined up correctly until it gets in here. Come on. Come on, come on. Tweezers. It is just under it, which means I have to pull up without knocking it off center. Yep. With shit like this, there's no wonder that there are no videos about this on the internet. I'd be so tired from this. I'm pretty sure if anybody got the initiative to do this with their guns there in China, because guns are popular in China for some reason. Oh, there we go. It's in. And that is the fully assembled piece. Alright, now what you're going to do at this point is going to take these last two pins that you will not get confused because they are substantially bigger. You're going to push this piece down. You're going to slide these in so that the holes line up. Which I'm pretty sure you've already done if you've done anything with the bolt or anything. Breaking down the upper receiver of this gun, which you will find on other videos on YouTube. I don't really need to go into that. And yeah, that's the piece. If you do happen to get one of these, all that needs to be done is, heck, that's so easy. I'm just going to do it. Going to poke out this pin. It's going to come with a spring. You're going to remove the original piece. You're going to set the spring in that little circle, which actually grips it pretty tightly. You're going to line it up so that it grips in there. The piece is kind of shaped for it, so there's no way to get that confused versus that. The little gray part inside. It's going to line up pretty much perfectly. You're going to push it into place and put your last little pin in there. And the spring retention will hold it in place. And that's how this works. These pins tend to slide out like a mofo too. But yeah, now you get to see putting it back into the stock, the thing that I talked about. And Chris hands me the stock. So I'm going to sit here, hold it so that the pins, two big pins, don't slide out. I'm going to set it in the gun. And this is where the two pieces are getting in the way. You have to kind of zoom to see it. Alright, you see it? Yep. So you're going to have to hold the gun like this, preferably set it on something, pull it open slightly, and it'll slide. And then you just line up the gun like normally, and the pieces will kind of slide in there. Right. Then you take your really small Allen key, and you take these two tabs, and you want it to be facing straight down. You slide it so the circle lines up with the screw, obviously, the hole. Then you turn it to, this is actually the full auto setting, and you screw this in. And I mean, you could, I don't know, put a lot tighter in there if you really worry about these pins coming out. But I mean, that would make it hell to take apart. And I don't really trust this, considering not the quality of the build, but this piece is just really, really thin. This one got tightened up a little bit, so I have to untighten it. But yeah, I've had no experience yet of these even slightly unscrewing through usage. But I'll find out either the easy way or the hard way in a game, and I'll probably put something on it, like a dab of super glue that I can scrape off. Something on the side that I don't have, that the Allen key does not have to screw into. the opposite side of it. Put some super glue right there so it doesn't just slide out or unscrew over time. If I really am going to have that problem. Scrape it off when I plan to do anything with the gun. And that's it. This is actually safety. Oh wow. That would normally be embarrassing, but let's unscrew this. I put the tab in backwards, not paying attention. But luckily that is extremely easy. Unlike the rest of this godforsaken kit. The first time I had to do this, between losing pieces and having to search for them, and figuring out how to break this gun down, and figuring what springs were actually what the differences were, and what to put where, and how to put it all back together without losing pieces and whatnot. Yeah, all of that, the first time I did this took 5 hours. I know, probably shameful. But after that, it's taken about 30 minutes without, you know, pieces working with me while I have the appropriate tools, which are not this. Needle nose pliers make everything a whole lot easier. And a good light source. I had to hold a flashlight in my mouth. But yeah, this is full auto. This will be your semi-auto. And this will be your safety. The cool thing about the safety with the full auto kit is that when you pull the trigger doesn't pull and the bolt doesn't come back. You're obviously, the stock inner barrel, the 250mm inner barrel is going to reach up to right here. Right at the edge before the threads. And you actually have threads, so if you happen to luckily get the original KC-02, you can put that end cap on there. You can put on flash hiders, which I recently ordered a flash hider because I usually run it with a suppressor and a scope. Screw something like that on there. You know, I have a little red dot sight on here for no reason, because I wanted to see how it would look in the kind of CQB setup. Yeah. And yep, so now you put the gun together. Obviously you have these two screws to put back here and up there. You're gonna be fine. And that is how you install the full auto kit for the KJW KC-02. Find the full auto kit on eVike, eHobby Asia, and a host of other sites that I might personally deem a little less trustworthy, except for obvious ones. And that's good.